Welcome to Bifocal Naturalists. This is your host Vijaya Chakravarti. Today we will delve deep into the Japanese art, fascinating art, but little known, the art of Psyche. You must be thinking, oh, isn't that bonsai? Not quite. Bonsai is the art of perfecting a single tree, whereas Psyche is much more ambitious. It's the art of creating miniature landscape in shallow containers using multiple trees, rocks, little plants, moss, and even tiny parts. Psyche was born in 1960s through the pioneering work of a Japanese bonsai master, Toshio Kawamoto. It's a combination, a pleasant combination of horticulture, bonsai, and meditation. Imagine holding a mountain in your hands. Picture yourself in the forest, the serene forest, and the cascading waterfalls, and the coastal scenery. Psyche is a way of creating all these into a small scale so that you can keep it on your table. So settle down and let us explore the art of Psyche and see how different it is from its cousin bonsai. Our guest today is Dr. Sujata Bhatt, a bonsai artist, teacher. She is the first vice president of Bonsai Club International and executive member of the Indo-Japanese Association. So let's go over to Sujata and listen to what she has to say.
I would like to thank and pay my gratitude to all the teachers who have helped me in my bonsai journey. That is Jyoti and Nikunj Parekh and my first teacher, Mrs. Santosha Roth. Really indebted to them for helping me and guiding me throughout my bonsai journey. Bonsai is actually a Japanese art, and it is the art of miniaturizing trees. Now, bonsai is made up of two words, bon and sai. So, bon means a pot, and sai is a tree. So, it is the art of creating a miniaturized tree in a pot. So, it literally means planting in a tree or a container. So now, but today I'm not going to do a regular bonsai. I'm going to create something which is very appealing to all of us. It's a very creative composition, and it is known as Psyche. Psyche literally means living landscape. A psyche can be a scenery of anything you see in nature, such as a mountain scenery or something by the river or by the sea or a forest or anything. It is a composition made out of trees, generally multiple trees, and also rocks, and sometimes you can have a water body. Psyche is something which everyone can create because it unleashes your own creativity, and you don't need expensive material. You can manage with even nursery grown material, whereas with bonsai you need mature material, and the whole process of creating a bonsai is laborious, and you have to have a lot of patience. But for Psyche you can instantly get a beautiful creation in a tree. So let's start first preparing the tree to create the Psyche. I am using these wire meshes to cover the holes, and I'm using these kind of butterfly loops to pin the um, jali onto the tray. Now my tray is ready, and I have used a few wires so that I can tie down my trees. Now what I want to create here is a scenery from like a riverside scenery, which has trees on one side and the river on the other side. And then I'm going to separate the trees and the water area with rocks or stones. So this is a composition of a riverside scenery. We first have to cover the bottom of the pot with the bottom soil or the gravel, so that the soil does not go through the jali. Now I have just placed some of these rocks so that I get a kind of idea about how the trees will go. And after that, I'm going to put some of the gravel at the bottom. This is a special bonsai soil which I have. It is made of, it is extremely porous, and you can make it with a little bit of garden soil. I add something called leca, which is crushed leca actually, which is light expanded clay aggregate, and it helps to make the soil porous. I've also added sand and some organic manure in it. After this, I am going to place my trees. The trees I'm using today are called Carmona microphylla, or we also call it wax multicia, and I've been growing it for a few years. I have these 3 Carmona microphylla trees, and I have kind of put them in position. This is my tallest tree, which will form the apex, and then I have this one, the front one, which is leaning towards the water area, and then I have one supporting one over here. Now I'm going to tie these together so that they don't move, and I will add a few more rocks so that I can complete the composition. Now I've added a few rocks so that it gives the natural landscape. Now we'll finish up by covering with soil, and then I will cover with moss, because we need to hold the soil. It's a shallow tray, and we need to hold the soil in place, and so therefore that moss helps to hold it in place. So I have covered it with soil. It is important that your soil is not all flat. You should have mounds, and it should look like a natural landscape. Also, when you're placing your trees, you should be able to see all the tree trunks from all sides. Basically, even from the side where you look, they should not be in one line. Now, in any natural landscape, you will also see undergrowth. So I have added a bit of mondo grass, and this is the baby's breath plant here. And just for a bit of color, I've added euphorbia, mini euphorbia over there. Now I have to finish up, and for that I have to make my water area, for which I will fill with white gravel, and then there is a surprise for you at the end. So let's continue. Now, as I said, we have to cover the soil with moss. Moss is needed so that it holds the soil together, and the moss is secured with these U-pins. They are wires which are made into U-pins, and that will hold the moss in place and see that it's not blown away or taken by birds for their nests. And it would be nice to have green moss instead of dry sphagnum moss, because that green moss will add a bit of color. I have a little bit which I will add at the end, but this green moss is available only in the rainy season, and many a times we don't find it. So it's better you add. So it's convenient if dry sphagnum moss is available, and you can secure your soil with it. So this is my psyche which I've created, and we now give it the final touch, which is we'll add some figurines. So the figurine kind of creates not only it adds interest to the composition, but it also gives a sense of perspective. That is, if your figurine is small, then you know how big their trees are, and the figurines also should be added very very sparingly. It should not detract from the rest of the composition. We've added the figurines now. We have a man enjoying the scenery, sitting on the rock. We have this boy on this kind of catamaran, and we have one little boy sitting on a buffalo under the shade of the tree. So this adds a little interest, and so even for children, it's good. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you very much for being patient and seeing this.
Thank you, Sujata. That was beautiful. I love the way you showed your respects to your gurus, Jyoti and Nikunj Parekh and Aurora. I also be very fortunate to have Jyoti and Nikunj Parekh as my teachers, and I hold them in very high esteem. And Santosh Arora is a dear friend. In the Eastern cultures, Japan, China, and India, teachers are held in high esteem. The sensei, as they refer to a teacher in Japan, Laoshi in Chinese, and Guru in India. The primary role of the teachers is to pass on the knowledge and skills and the mastery they have acquired in a particular field. But the Guru goes far beyond. The Guru also leads the student to enlightenment and wisdom. And he's the one who holds your hand and takes you into the path of enlightenment. Thank you, Sujata. I'm sure now many people will take up Psyche. Looking forward to seeing you again on Bifocal Naturalist. Thank you and bye-bye.